Hello, hello, hello.
Hi,
And
I'm
you
Misha.
are Misha, and
you
I
are
am Nez.
Nez.
And we have a special guest today.
My name is Ida.
Hi, Ida. How are you? We're so
Hi.
happy to have you. First of all, I'm so excited to be back here because it's a lot of fun.
Me too.
And secondly, I can't be dealing with your hair. Why does it always look good with headphones?
Because I have 2 bald patches, and then the rest is just covered, and the hair comes out.
And my hair looks like, I don't know, I demand a hairdresser on set when the budget gets bigger.
She's
welcome.
just like J-Lo in
Thank you.
terms of podcast.
This is Luxury
Unedited.
Oh my God, serious stuff.
So just to give, actually we're talking today about ageism and beauty. Misha and I actually we had this topic, didn't we, a few weeks ago, and it was so popular we wanted to revisit it
and expand on it.
And actually the brilliant thing was we ended up having a talk today anyway with you, Ida. So this is a beautiful follow-on from that.
Ida owns and is in charge of Ouronyx. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Correct, you pronounce it
Ouronyx,
perfectly.
which is I think the first one was launched in London.
In London 2 years
In
back.
London 2 years back. I mean, it's state of the art. If you've been there, you don't feel like you're going into a clinic.
Oh, it's stunning.
It's just stunning. So you go there. You can actually just go and have coffee and sit down and chat to somebody. It's a very relaxed atmosphere.
But I think it's fair to say we started a journey, didn't we, a while back?
Absolutely.
Because I know some of your team, and I was approached by them, and I'm not necessarily a beauty, aesthetic person. I hadn't really had experience. I mean, I'm beautiful.
Oh, I know. If I said to you, Nez, let's just go and have a facelift, you'd be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I would have a facelift because I want to be like Joan Collins. Yeah. But, yeah, I like Joan in my 80s.
Come on, Jane Fonda at least.
Oh, Jane, I love Jane. Come on,
Jane
they're both
yes.
fabulous. But you gave me a very comfortable and sincere way to sort of start a journey almost in many ways, my beauty journey. And if we could talk a little bit about, how you got into it, because you're actually a psychologist by background, and you're so fascinating, and I just love why you embarked on this particular project.
Thank you so much, Nez. You are really kind. But one thing I think that is coming out in every conversation of this type through me, it's the passion for not beauty. I'm not a beauty person like you, but I really enjoy making people better and finding ways that they can optimize themselves through different stages of life, because I think that's all what's the life about, right?
Yeah.
As human beings, we want to be the best version of ourselves when we are 20 and when we are 70. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
So nurturing that human need for self-optimization along the journey includes beauty in shapes and form. But for every person, that relationship with beauty is very different.
Absolutely.
For me personally, I have never strived for any kind of perfection or any kind of, full symmetry in a face. On contrary.
Isn't that impossible? I mean, no one has a symmetrical face, right?
But I think that's half the problem in the industry at the moment.
Exactly. Right? That we strive for something that in nature doesn't exist, right? So we want to be beyond what naturally beauty stands for.
I mean,
so
what
we
are
try
the
to
most beautiful
re-envision
things in the world? It's nature, right? You go somewhere and something is completely stunning. That's
Exactly.
God. That's not man-made.
Yeah.
That's God-made. So I think when you're created, God actually knows best. Yes, sure, you can enhance it to make it look fresher and feel a bit more like yourself. But to strive for perfection, I think you only end up letting yourself down.
I think the same. One part that needs to be respected are proportions, right? So in our face, in our body, in nature, proportions matter. And thinking about that, that's always something that in my mind is putting beauty into balance, not into perfect outlook, but really into harmony and balance that is visible on someone's face. So once you start interfering with the face and you forget about those proportions, you can make out of your face something that is completely disbalanced and in an obvious way just doesn't look right anymore.
Sorry, can we just, before we jump into that, because that's super interesting, can we talk a little bit about your personal journey and how you got into it? Because you started off as a very corporate position in terms of your career.
Exactly. I was in hyper corporate environment for almost 25 years of my career. I was leading HR organization in mainly big pharma. I started in a bank.
Big pharma. Oh,
my
pharma.
first job.
Isn't big pharma evil?
Evil. Dun, dun,
big
dun. Evil. Sorry.
But the first job was even in a bank. So, you know, those very stiff traditional environments.
We have a word for those people.
Yeah, but we can't say it on air. But if you're British, you know exactly where that's coming from.
And through that career, basically, I used my knowledge into human behavior towards helping people really progress through their career in the right way.
Because you're a psychologist
I am a psychologist by background. My title is a professor of psychology.
Professor! I didn't know we had a professor in the house.
Well, hold on. Maybe I could ask you some
time
questions,
for
but
everything.
we'll do that off air.
And I love science, so I was always driven by research and by discovering new things and how human brain impacts human interactions, behavior, and where does that all take us. So for 20-something years of my very corporate career, I was using that knowledge to really inspire and support people to find right paths to grow their career in the way that suits them best.
I think I would have been actually a bit scared of you, Ida.
I think I'm scared now.
But no, I think it's really a gift to and kind of a special reward to still see people after 10, 15 years of corporate careers coming to you saying, you know what, you changed my life.
Wow.
Because you pushed me out of a comfort zone into something I was never thinking I can do well.
Oh, amazing. That is
Which
very
is kind of
empowering.
the reason for a great mentor to do this type of a job, right?
Absolutely.
It's usually a mentor sees in us things that we don't dare to see ourselves.
But sadly, not how we see HR these days. You're exception on that case. And
which was probably also one of the reasons I decided to leave.
Yeah.
Because I came to the level that I was disappointing myself with contributions and achievements I could make in that type of environment.
And you were talking about, I think your sort of ping moment came when you were in the boardroom surrounded by men in suits.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you climb the career ladder and you come to the level. So I was in charge of the HR organization in IT business. So comes without saying
Sexy IT.
And then, you know, you become a senior leader. You start sitting at the table with senior men. And at the moment you realize you are completely on your own around that table, voicing out something they don't even understand. But what hurt me probably more is that they really didn't care.
There was nobody that sort of understood your perspective. Sometimes you think that some men do get it. I mean, if they're married, they understand, or their wives are working, but no, they're just not interested.
Linear. I think it depends on the industry as well, perhaps.
Exactly. And was probably one of the reasons why I pushed myself out, looking for a space where I contribute more and where I can feel better seeing that I am developing something I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, and I love that you're the antithesis of someone I expected to launch an aesthetics like beauty place, just because.
Whom do you have in mind?
I don't know. You're just so super smart. You know, you're intriguing.
J-Lo, and just a brand of olive
and
oil.
You're honest, and no, but also in terms of the aesthetic, or maybe it's the environment here in Dubai. I just feel like everything's exaggerated. It's not so natural, or what I'm looking for. Why is Misha looking at me in a funny way?
Because I don't know that. I don't know that you're the antithesis. I think because you're coming at it from a science point of view. From let's take just the beautification out of this and see what actually works.
Yeah.
That's the way she's coming out of it. Nothing.
Yeah. But my experience of the industry here is completely different. It's not about that It's not about, okay, what's healthy for a body, what's healthy for a person, what does that person actually feel comfortable or need. It's not about just walking in and going, oh yeah, we can just, it's this bit here, I'm uncomfortable, okay, let's inject you here. It's about the whole, so when you go in and you do the onboarding, there's a whole process that happens.
Yeah, which is incredible there. Well, so you're getting to understand the woman as well. But we also have to be honest in something. There's a lot of women that will just see Kim Kardashian on social media or do a filter, which is even worse. And they'll take that filtered face in and say, I want to look as close to this as possible. And that I know happened in London a lot.
Yeah.
You know, when that... what is it? Is it a Snapchat came out with all those filters? So, and people would do it, and they say, I want to look like this.
But in
the
all
responsibility
honesty,
of
when
the
I
clinic
was
and the doctors.
18 years old, I remember going to a hairdresser with a photo. My curly hair would never be able to look like that, but I wanted it because, you have a vision of someone you admire and you aspire to become. And instead of looking how to optimize yourself to be the most comfortable version of yourself in your own skin, we try to look like someone else that we believe will help us feel better about ourselves. So it's not a new element in how we behave. It's just more risky element because if you cut your hair that doesn't look right in a month or two, you are fine because it will grow and it's very reversible. With some interventions people take on their face, they are non-reversible.
Yeah.
And, those that were...
Yeah, there's a show, isn't there, where they fix people that are... Isn't it? I came across a show like that. It's very harsh, where some people go in and do things and they...
But that's why it's the responsibility of the clinic and the doctors.
Sometimes.
And in the UK, you don't actually have to be a medical doctor to... use needles,
Unfortunately,
right?
the market is so unregulated that you can be a plumber and you can stop me in the middle of the street, put in the back of your car, inject me, and you are not breaching the law. It goes that far.
No. First of all, I'm not getting in the back of any van. But no, you are joking.
No.
I thought everybody had to have a license.
No. Here they do.
Yes.
To inject toxins that are impacting your muscles, this is a prescribed product and you need to be licensed. But in the United Kingdom, things like fillers are medical devices and basically anyone can apply them.
Oh my God.
So are we scared?
Yes. We are definitely scared.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not scared because I don't like anything injected.
But so go back to the psychology bit. Can you talk to us a bit about your onboarding, because that's super interesting.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone else does that here, right? I think that's unique to you.
Yeah, and I would start even a step before with the space itself, right? So when I was thinking about this brand, I put my experiences together. How did I feel in the first 2 consultations I had as a client in someone else's practice? And in all honesty, despite the fact that in order to be treated in medical aesthetics, you need to be 100% healthy. You can't be sick and be treated because that would escalate the inflammatory levels in your body. So it's not allowed. Which
no one tells you about.
Nobody told me anything.
But even like you come very healthy into that practice, I always felt kind of sick going out because I was treated that way. I was talking about what has to be changed, what has to be different, what has to be redone, rather than what's the best thing you like and you want to reinforce and optimize to its maximal level. So for me, coming into the space that is inviting, where you don't feel clinical, where walls are not white, where, people around you are feeling comfortable, sitting with a coffee, chit-chatting, finalizing their emails before they go in and see the doctor. That was kind of an environment where I was seeing a community that ages well with time. Spaces that people step in, they feel relaxed, and they find...
So it's being comfortable from the minute you walk through the door.
And
that makes you feel safe,
I mean, it's stunning, right?
It is stunning.
It's the
one
Zaha
here in the Zaha
Hadid
Hadid building. It's stunning.
Where are you in London?
We are in London, in Mayfair, in St. James Street.
Oh, fancy.
So really a nice, very different environment because the building is older,
Nez lives next door.
monumental.
Yes, darling, I wish.
And it's still very comfortable.
Yeah.
People come in and they say, oh, we fear we will be intimidated, but no, they are relaxed. They feel comfortable. They feel they're in trustworthy environment where wherever topic they touch, they will not be pushed into wrong decisions. They will be provided with information that serve them to make their mind up on what's really the right next step for them.
So tell us, so you go in, you feel relaxed. I mean, I was pretty wowed by the place, weren't you?
I think everybody was wowed, especially this morning as well when they came in there. Everyone was like, wow, wow. It is a stunning, stunning space.
And we can talk a little bit about, some of the discussions we had this morning. So you walk in, you sit down, you have several people doing, what's the process? It's like 3D.
Yeah.
So first you are seated, you get your coffee and tea, and you get your iPad, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that before you reach the stage of sitting next to a doctor, that doctor collects as much information about you as possible. So it's about half an hour where you are going through an onboarding of providing us with all your medical history. We need to know if you have any kind of contraindications with your medical status that we need to be warned about. We need to understand your history with aesthetics. Have you tried anything before? What worked? What didn't work? Do you still have any products sitting in your face? That's all important for a decision, what will happen on a day. And then we try to initiate the reflection point in your mind. Why you are actually here? What is your aesthetic goal?
That I love. Why
what
are
would you
here?
like to achieve? And believe it or not, I have heard number of times from ladies staring into that iPad, and it's designed, it's kind of a funny game where you move and you rank your priorities up and down, where they said, you know what, I came here and I realized now I actually am not sure what I'm looking for.
Or I don't even want to be here, really. I'm not ready for it.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
also get that
It can be a discovery as well, which is perfectly fine. And then we ask you, what do you fear from? So what's driving anxiety thinking about aesthetic clinic with you? So we take that into account as well. And then we do a bit of a psychological profiling, which again, it's a fun thing where you move your answers and you rank them based on what you value in your life.
Is one personality trait more like they succumb more to treatments or aesthetics, or it doesn't really matter?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's only how you make decisions about your journey.
Because for me, I don't want to know what's being done. I don't want to know. I want to know, but I don't want the intricacies. I just want to get out of there as quick as possible. Yeah. Some people need to know what is this and how long will it last.
Or time to go away and come back, decide.
Some people can't decide on their own. We advise come back with a trusted friend, mother, sister, whomever you want next to you to provide you with that support to make your own decision. So everyone is different. And if we know who you are and what you value, I think it's much easier than support you through that process to get out of it the most you can. Mm-hmm. And then we take you for imaging. So we take traditionally 2D images with both mimics and dynamics on your face, and then in still. And then also we do the 3D imaging scan, which is a very unique Israeli technology.
Is that like having an ultrasound?
Not
no,
really.
It's just with the cameras, I think.
No, it's a trace technology, so it's kind of, it looks like a laser that is going 270 degrees around your face and really taking thousands of images to compress a 3D model of your face that the doctor pulls up on a screen and can tell you a couple of elements. One is, what is the state of your pigmentation? What is the redness? So everything we cannot see with normal eye, right? So the layer below the surface of the skin, which is very educational.
If, say somebody has a lot of pigmentation.
Why are you looking at me?
Does that, just because I love you, I do love you. Does that influence then what type of treatment they can have?
Yes.
Yeah.
So even if they say, no, I want this, you'll say, well, no, actually, you shouldn't have that.
Exactly. So I'm a great example. So I have rosacea since I was 25, which is this redness in the particular areas of the face.
No.
But I am not a candidate for microneedling treatment, for example. So there are some energy devices that if you come with a chronic disease and particular skin status, it needs to be addressed first before you can go further on through the procedure.
Have you ever heard of that?
Rosacea, yeah.
No, I know rosacea, but have you ever heard where somebody says, no, you can't do that?
Yeah, no.
No, I've never heard of that
No.
either. Let's just say
It's like, it feels like a cattle market. Like, I think any place I dared to venture into with friends.
I told you the one that I went to, I literally hyperventilated. My friend said to me, she said, okay, we're leaving. I could not breathe.
Oh, but that's
Nez.
because you might want to sort of say why, because they
He
basically
told me-
tore your face apart.
He tore my face apart. I quite like my face.
Yeah,
I would
I like
say.
your face too.
But, he literally tore it apart. He said, I needed this done here, I needed that done there, I needed my eyes pulled up, I needed my chin fixed, I needed my cheeks. I'm like, I have
You've
huge
got great
cheeks.
cheeks.
Yeah.
Why would I need it? It was horrendous.
Great cheeks.
Great cheeks.
Exactly.
So yes, so then I'm glad. So then that does affect many things. Okay, so then you've done the onboarding, and then you sit in front of a doctor.
Not in front.
Oh,
We have designed a space where you sit with the doctor, like we
Like
sit
this.
here,
Yeah.
around the table. So no one is dominating the conversation, right? It's your face. You should participate in that conversation and be very active member of designing that plan, what needs to happen with it. So the doctor will pull on a screen, obviously a pre-designed dashboard saying, this is your age group, this is what we learned your aesthetic goals are, these are your fears, this is your personality, this is what I read out of it. But tell me, in a very structured conversation, what would ideal for you be? And then the conversation starts. Some people that are more into just seeing results and moving out fast would say, yeah, I feel my skin is not hydrated anymore, what are my options? And then the conversation goes in that way. Some other come to just be educated and spend an hour with the doctor learning what aging stands for. What are the changes that are happening in our face so they can decode what they see in a mirror and then decide not to do anything. They come back in a year once they are ready for it.
Right.
And it's also fine.
Yeah.
So there is no right or wrong for anyone on a day, on a spot.
So in terms of as we're aging, you just mentioned it, is there certain things we should be doing at certain ages? I think we were talking about that, weren't we, Misha? Is there a particular thing? Is there a particular treatment you suggest?
We have heard some people say that you should, people starting Botox at 25.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that's really wrong. I mean, you're not even, you in your face at 25?
Well, fillers. I'm not so worried about the Botox because I feel like that dissipates. But the fillers where...
So I think there is a reason everyone is freaking out around fillers, me being one 4 years backwards.
Yeah, I'm a filler freak
I'm
I'm
philophobic.
Philophobic.
It took me good 2 years to get over them myself as well. But it was just pure lack of knowledge. And what was in my mind on a completely unconscious bias level was that I was always thinking those kind of dysmorphic faces.
Chipmunks, I think, is the is a scientific word.
But from 25 years back, you know what I mean? So ladies that started using fillers 25 years back were not
fillers
using...
25 years back?
No, there were. But they were collagen-based.
Wasn't that just chicken fillets that you shoved in your bra or something?
They were I don't know if... But do you know how a first filler was invented?
No, tell us.
Chicken fillet.
No, it was done, intentionally designed for AIDS patients.
But
You
how?
know, in 80s, when AIDS was just flourishing, those patients were losing complete muscle structure.
Way.
You remember Tom Hanks,
wow.
right?
Yes.
So they didn't have any muscle. So collagen filler was developed to reconstruct the face of those patients that didn't want to lose their social positions and they were hiding it for such a long time.
Wow.
So that was the reason why the first filler was out. But it was not a natural one. It was an animal product, so the collagen was taken from a cow. You take a collagen...
I am not the cow that
I know some cows that they could have taken that from.
But from cow to now, right?
Cow to now.
We have a very different situation. So fillers today...
Are they safe, is what I want to ask.
So they are based on natural hyaluronic acid that we normally have in our face.
So I hear hyaluronic acid in everything. So hyaluronic acid is something that's already in you, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
And we have an enzyme that dissolves it in a natural way.
Okay.
Plus, once
what we do as individuals, or you do as in the clinic?
No, both. So, as individuals, over the course of, dependent on the type of a filler, it takes in between 6 to 12 months for our natural way to absorb the filler. Okay. And it just melts down. There is also a way
where does
that
it go? Do you like pee out?
it goes as
out of, yes.
in sweating, the normal metabolic process of
normal metabolic process.
Well, there's nothing normal about me, so normal metabolic process. Apologies.
But funnily enough, if you take a filler and you don't like it, there are also products that are kind of hyper enzymes that can be put into your face to dissolve them instantly.
Okay.
So nothing is fixed anymore.
Sorry, quick question. What I worry about is... I'm
answering.
Is with the fillers, right? So you sort of plump it all up, they dissolve it. Do they just does it stretch the skin out and then go all the way down?
No. You know what's causing the skin to be saggy?
Well,
I don't know.
Unfortunately,
it's what is it? Gravity.
No.
Misha just space travel.
But that gravity needs support, and the support is
the fat.
No, the bone structure.
Oh God! Don't.
So from the age
tell us about this fact of yours because it freaks me out.
From the age of 30, we start losing bone in our skull, i.e., our skull is shrinking.
No. I don't have enough brain for my skull to shrink.
And it progressively does with, 0.5% year on year. This is something they predict. So your bone is becoming smaller while your tablecloth, so the skin is staying the same.
Tablecloth? Come on, Ida, make us feel a bit nicer. Tablecloth.
I imagine you have a nice big table with full of guests, and then you start shrinking it, bringing it back to the size of 6 people. If you keep the same tablecloth on, what happens, right? It's saggy. It's going to the...
You shrink the table and goes to the
floor. So you know you were giving us this really interesting fact about
women
those
aging.
that were born after 2015. It's likely that they're going to live until they're 140. So does that mean
105 to 140? Yeah.
Does that mean these people are going to brains? They're just going to be like
it's going to be like
little.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Body. Yeah.
I remember.
Or will they stop that brain shrinking?
I don't dare thinking how someone would look at 140.
So help us, Ida, help us.
Ida, so I'm going to ask a question for the listeners because I think they want to know. So you have this beautiful clinic, you do this onboarding, and I know it's a fantastic process. You've already done it. I've already experienced a little bit of it. I want to get to the nitty-gritty of it because I think a lot of people go down the wrong path because of finances. They take the cheap option, the man in the back of the van.
Yeah.
Your process, is it very expensive? Or is it something that somebody should invest in the first time round to be able to then go on and do the proper things? Because you like everything else,
maintenance as well,
about
how
maintenance.
they manage to keep.
And you need to make a plan. Like in everything else in life, you need to make a plan.
So when we were designing Ouronyx, my one goal was to remove the conversation in aesthetics from a product into an outcome. So,
Oh, I like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Coming into a clinic saying, I need a syringe of something. I have no idea what am I even saying. Yeah. What do I know about what a syringe can do? There are professionals that need to judge and assess the face in order to suggest what is actually needed in that face. But on another note, it's not about paying for a syringe. You want to achieve something as an outcome of your face. You want to restore, for example, the loss of bone in your jawline. And that needs to cost X. So when you come to Ouronyx, it may be that Misha needs 5 fillers and Nez will need 7.
I knew
she was going to get more.
I knew I'd
give
need
Nez
more
10.
fillers.
5.
But the bottom line is you will pay the same.
Oh.
Because
I want her to pay more.
Because when we go and buy shoes, if you are wearing number 37 and I am 41, I don't pay for my shoes more.
Extra.
Even the amount of leather used for it, it's far larger, right?
Yeah, true.
So the logic is the same.
I
You
like
are
that.
there
See, but that's
for
also
an
very
outcome.
important for our listeners to
Yeah.
know, right? So, because everybody at the end of the day, not everyone can just go and spend. But this is what we want, I think, to put out there. Aging, first of all, we are pro-aging, because what's the alternative? It's really awful, right? That you're no longer there. So you want to age, and you want to age well. So it really is worth investing in going down the proper road. Please don't take, oh, my friend can do this for you. And I have that. There are people that says, oh, my friend can do this. Don't worry, she knows how to do it.
And we just said 5 minutes back, right?
Yeah.
Fillers are dissolved in our bodies naturally. So imagine you come 1 month for one syringe, then you come next month for another syringe. By the time you get your 3 or 4 syringes that you may need, the first one is dissolved already. So it's like coming to for a manicure, but then today you only cut your nails, right? So you come in a week later and then they do a bit of skin, and then a week later they would do a nail polish. It cannot work that way. You are never in a right stage, right? So it's better to put a bit more money down, do what needs to be done, see visibly that good result.
Nez will have to take a mortgage out.
God
And then you are fine for a year.
Yes, we are fine for a year. That's what we
Actually, as someone in the business, what's your favorite treatment? What's your number one treatment? What do you love having done? Or what treatment is it that you'd say, if you're going to have anything else, it will be this particular treatment?
I said 15 minutes back, I'm not really, I was never obsessed with beauty. Mm-hmm. So for me, a really fresh, well-rested look is something I value the most.
Yeah.
And it comes through 2 interventions. I am 49, so unfortunately, my temples and my jawlines need to be restored every 14 to 16 months. So I put fillers in my jawline and my temples to kind of move the skin where it belongs. And then everything else is just proper hydration. I'm also a hyper energetic person that likes to spend time in constructive things. I hate going to see doctors, even they are with me every single day, to be injected too often. I go 2 to 3 times a year. They do proper hydration with a needle, so putting in certain dermal levels hydration and booster of natural collagen production. And this is something that keeps me fresh across the year without too much spend and too much work.
So that's a lady at your age. So if you want to start on the ladder, say in your between 20 and 30, what should you do? Between 30 and 40, what should you do? What do you recommend?
So usually you start with energy devices. So one being Morpheus 8 that we have mentioned today.
What about those LED masks that people use at home? Do you recommend those?
Hopefully they're a waste of money, because I'm not
they're a
going to be
waste of
sitting
money.
there.
Exactly. Next. Okay. So then, as something like Morpheus between 20s and 30s.
Yeah. So starting with energy devices in order that you encourage your collagen production in a natural way as much as you can, and then once collagen production is not enough, once you start losing bone structure, adding and topping up for those losses.
Ida's looking at my jawline right now as we speak.
You know what? I'm happy that I can't see mine.
Okay,
and then making sure that the skin is properly hydrated across the year. You don't need much.
Yeah.
Everything else is a balance from what's going on inside, right? If you are living crazy life, you are fully under stress and stretch non-stop, it's worth having a checkup couple of times a year. What's the situation with your biomarkers, how your blood looks like?
Yeah.
Are you having ongoing inflammatory
Which is
activities?
what you're going into, is that correct?
Yes.
Which I love the idea
I
of.
like the idea of that very much.
Because also vitamin, I'm not someone that likes to swallow tablets, and there's lots of products out there for, targeting women, but you have to have like 8 vitamins a day, which is for someone that has a phobia about swallowing tablets. It's horrific. And then you told me an interesting fact about actually what was the percentage of uptake with vitamins? You were saying it.
So general IV drips as a business is booming.
It's booming, right?
It's doubling year on year. It's really massive. But at the same time, it's also not straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Because you have plenty of places where you
Where
go.
you just go and they want to give
no
you a B12.
one looks
yeah,
into
no one looks what you're
what
lacking.
you really need, where are the gaps, what are surpluses, and what needs to be balanced out. You have your bag of something that goes into your body, and for some it may work a bit, for some it may not work at all.
I have to tell you, I did, remember I was here last time and I did one, made no difference. And
Because it wasn't specific, which is what you're looking at.
They did it.
No, so Ida's Ouronyx are looking at something specific for your blood tape.
Yeah.
Your
We
blood tape.
really
Well,
try
not just
to,
yours, Misha. I mean, to anyone.
No, I'd like it just to be mine.
we hope as of May onwards to launch a particular individual's
coming back.
bespoke
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
concept where we'll take your blood, we'll do the analytics, we'll see what are deficiencies, and
These
we'll
are the
mix
exciting
those deficiencies.
These are the exciting things, because I think you feel you look better on the outside when you're also better on the
Exactly.
inside, right?
Isn't it 68%? No, what was the percentage you said better uptake through IV than vitamins?
Yeah. So unfortunately, as we age, our digestive system is keeping all the oral vitamins that we potentially use up to 70%. So what is released in your bloodstream, it's maybe 30. So it's far more efficient to put a bit of a cannula and put the nutritives directly into your bloodstream.
I'll be the guinea pig. I think it's time for
our top 5. Woo!
5 alive.
So the whole point of the top 5 is we ask our wonderful audience, we introduce a topic and they let us know some of their questions. And then we either discuss, ponder, or answer.
Or just say, no, I'm not doing that one.
Or just
Next.
Just say no potty language.
Yes.
Okay, so you ready?
I think so.
Yes. We'll help you.
So our top 5 questions were, question number 1, in 10 years' time, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this, Ida, or not, in 10 years' time, will we be able to avoid the scalpel?
Oh.
It's a very good question, and I am pretty much sure we will.
Ooh!
Like no more facelifts? Like
Correct.
you can just do it. Oh, yes.
Well,
let's hang on there, Nez. Let's hang on there.
If we are lived up to 140, I cannot promise. But with the horizon I have in mind, so getting to those 95 would be nice.
Yes, nice.
I think we can manage without scalpel very
We're
soon.
booking in.
Booking in. 2 for 1 deal. 2 for 1 deal. Right.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Exciting.
I'm really super excited
Yes, me
about
too.
that. Okay, question number 2. I'd like, this has come back to your point about fillers. I'd like to try fillers, but I'm scared or a little embarrassed.
Yeah, I've always found people are embarrassed about fillers. They never say that they've had fillers, although you can tell, especially when they've done their lips and they meet you before they walk in the room. However, I am scared about fillers because I didn't understand what was in them.
Let me tell you something. So there are 2 elements what brings a good result of a filler out.
Yeah.
One is a good product. So all kind of generic things coming from spooky parts of the world, avoid. Go for a solid, well-tested, proper product. And then the other thing...
But how do you know?
How do we know
what that is?
Like made in Switzerland kind of thing.
Well, yeah, luckily, out of 4 biggest filler producers, 3 are coming from Switzerland, so it says a
lot.
bit about the industry as well.
The one that says made in Timbuktu, maybe just avoid.
But the other, even more important thing is the application.
Right.
So having an expert doctor that knows how to administer filler at different layers of the skin, it's really important. And that requires training, that requires a lot of education, and that requires having a particular artistry in your hands as well to deliver the best possible result.
What I'm seeing a lot of, I mean, I don't know if this is general practice, but changing the shape of the jawline, which seems to be what a lot of people use fillers for, rather than maintaining a jawline.
I'll never
Is that
forget
correct?
when Khloe Kardashian, I even put it on my page, at one time she looked like Dr. Zeus. I mean, her chin was like that.
Yeah.
I think it's been removed now.
And
apparently you can add and remove chins. I didn't know that.
So there are those proportions we've touched briefly at the very beginning, right? A solid doctor that has a young girl coming and saying, I want bigger lips, will send her home, right? Because if you want to touch only your lips, this will never look good. There are proportions we need to preserve, right?
Yeah.
The tip of your nose towards the tip of your lip and towards the tip of your chin.
It's called the philtrum. What's it called, that bit? The fill something.
So if you go only with a huge lip and you have small chin, this will not look like anything. You need to address both in order to put that harmony in place. And this is where a bad doctor that is accepting only a lip treatment will develop something we will see and we will not like. The magic of filler is that a good doctor treating you with a filler, you get out of a medical suite, no one can notice that you have done something.
Yeah.
This is a filler being applied in a right way. The minute someone can see something, this is a bad job done.
Misha and Nez booking next week for like filler.
So then I won't be doing yours in the kitchen when we leave. With the chicken fillet.
I don't think I've ever seen you in the kitchen,
No.
Misha.
Oh, quite rude, girl. Next.
Okay, next. This actually is a follow-on from our talk we had earlier on at the Ouronyx HQ in Dubai. As an influencer or a person of influence, I feel around beauty, I feel replaced by younger models. And what she was explaining,
I have to
is
tell you, that lady was in her 30s only.
Yeah,
and
which was
shocking. And
But
she's being replaced by
but
20-year-olds.
Two of them were saying that, and she was being, and the other friend of ours was saying, she's also very high profile, was saying that, brands, they don't realise that they want her for her database,
because the
and
buying
for her
power
looks
is for the older
and the
ones.
buyer power is
from
for the older ones. So she's like, well, if you're going to work with me, it has to be a 360 project. It has to be around women like myself and like me, because they are looking at me for advice and for guidance and things like that, rather than a younger model.
I think it's a similar narrative like women of all sizes, right? Do we all need to be number whatever it is, 36, or I have no idea.
God, I haven't seen 36 since.
So do we all need to be in our 20s in order to be accepted as something that looks beautiful?
Yeah.
I think it's an accountability of the women of our age to open up that conversation.
Absolutely.
Because
we have to be role models for...
Again, what is age? It's a number and it's an attitude, right? Mm-hmm. I personally believe that the beauty of aging is just growing with your skin, with your skull,
becoming comfortable,
and
more and more
embracing
comfortable
it in a way that you feel good in your own skin.
Yeah. And ironically, I think we all agree today that we're more confident the older we get.
Exactly. Believe it or not, but the dip of our confidence is in our 20s, when the peak of our beauty is there.
Yeah.
So it's a huge disbalance. And yes, the beauty may deteriorate with age, but the confidence compensates for it so much that I don't believe there should be a topic around what's the right age for someone to feel and look good about him or herself.
And we touched on feeling invisible in the conversation, and I touched on that personally.
Even in our first podcast with it, I think we talked about it.
So, but the women in the audience were shocked. They were like, Nez, but if you're feeling like that, how does that make us feel? And I was like, but it's important that you know that, because we are not super women.
Exactly.
We have to show our vulnerability, and it's part of our role to talk about these things in terms of our community and our peers.
I know, but I also then came back because I look at things from a different way. Like I said to you, when I look in the mirror, or when I look at you, because I've known you so long, you haven't changed to me. When I look in the mirror, I look at myself with kind eyes. I don't see an old woman.
No.
I see Misha that maybe, it's okay, but when I hear someone say, like a doctor that I went to see, my God, you need to change your entire face, or someone say, well, you could do with a bit of this. I'm like, hold on.
Exactly.
We should remain true to ourselves. I think, and if you look, like you say, if you look at the glass half full, okay, sure, you've aged a little bit, but it's not the end of the road.
But that's what's really nice about what you do, Ida. So that holistic approach. And when I then discovered, actually, it's also biological why I'm feeling these things,
Yes.
because of hormone changes. And, as you go through each decade, your body changes and
Absolutely.
your hormones change. And it was actually a very, very common thing to be feeling, but I didn't know that until I started reading and researching. Okay, so
3 or 4. I think we're on 4.
we're on 4.
4.
If money
Knock on
was
the door.
if money was no object, and if I'm on a budget, what's the treatment you recommend?
It will
For a
depend-
woman between 40 and 50.
So again, depends a bit on genetics. Some are losing bone slower, some are losing bone faster. If you are losing bone, just invest into it to be restored and do it once every 2 years. This is not a procedure that
Really?
has to happen. So, fillers are differing from how strong they are, right? So it's like building blocks. So fillers that you put in a jawline are the most condensed one, the strongest, the thickest one, and they stay in your face for the longest period of time, some up to 2 years. So you don't need to redo that regularly. Do it once, do it right, and you are fine. And then it's all about hydration and making sure that the quality of skin with proper skincare, with proper hydration, with what you eat, how you sleep, how you exercise, and so on, boost that collagen production to continuously go on. You don't need much more.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Okay, final question.
The final.
I think we also touched on
Yes,
this, actually. I'd like to know the thinking behind the psychology. This just came in.
And that's
this
just,
question.
so I think that's just what we discussed before, was that you need to know what kind of person and what they wish to achieve from
Yeah,
that, right?
exactly.
That's why you do it.
So it's
And
about
in
the
which
bigger.
stage
about the
of
bigger
your
picture.
mind you are,
Yeah.
right? Because if you're going through a really difficult period in life, be it menopause, so hormones are upside down, be it divorce, be it change of job, being whatever it is, it impacts the way you look and feel about yourself. So that all blends together. And if a single refreshing treatment will help you feel better through a
Then do
difficult
it.
period of life, just go
Do
for
it.
it. It all starts with self-care, right?
Absolutely.
We can't love other people if we don't find the peace with ourselves.
And I think that's a really nice place to end. That's beautiful. Thank you, Ida.
Do what works for you.
Do what works for you.
Life is beautiful.
Bang, ding, 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 ding. Thank you so much.
Thank
We're
you so
coming
much for
tomorrow.
coming.
We're coming tomorrow to
We're
book
coming
in.
tomorrow to book
We're
in.
coming to book
But can
in.
we please have a 2-for-1 deal? It's like a buy one, get one free.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you so
Thanks,
much,
guys.
Ida.
This
It was
was
great.
really fun.
Thank you.